Having a habit and an addiction of scrolling is literally chemically stealing joy from your real life. Everyone is talking about swapping scrolling with education and books, and while it's aspirational and I love it, I took a different route. I realized I needed more breaks and fun in my life. Hi, I'm Janelle, homeschooling mom of 4 and integrative nutrition health coach. I'm going to walk you through the swaps that I made and what actually changed in my life that made me become completely addicted to being offline. Don't worry, I'm going to give you the science to back up why play is so important if simply for the joy of it isn't enough. Everyone talks about screens as a total hours problem, and it is. It's crazy when you see how much all those micro moments add up to. But I want to zoom in on the micro moments that you think you're just going to scroll for a minute because you deserve a break in between tasks. These transitional moments throughout the day can be make or break for your day and your health and well-being. These are some of the most important moments of your day, and being a preschool teacher is where I really learned this. Because in between activities, if you are not fully engaged, fully present, fully attentive, and thinking through what next steps need to happen at the same time, that's when everything explodes, or you can't move in and restart into the next task as efficiently, costing you time and mental energy. Transitions are the time where the brain is processing. It's shifting gears, regulating, making sense of what just happened and what needs to happen in the future. Every time you pick up your phone, you're hijacking your brain's natural reset time. Instead of processing, digesting, and recalibrating, you're slamming it with new stimulation, new decisions to make, new feelings to have. And instead of rest, you're actually just further depleting yourself. Then you wonder why you feel overstimulated, foggy, reactive, and exhausted all the time. When I looked at my own phone habits through this lens, I realized it wasn't just the accumulation of hours on my phone. I was destroying my life and destroying my brain. So I didn't just ask, how could I stop using my phone? I started looking at those in-between moments and asking myself how I could give myself a real break, a real rest and reset. So I bought coloring books and colored pencils and a nice wooden container to hold them on my dining room table so that after dinner I could color with my kids. I love to be an active role model. So as I'm becoming aware of all of this and deciding to make the changes, I am explaining it to my children and talking to them about how we need to reduce their screen time as well, and talking to them about how it makes them feel. One of their biggest complaints was they felt like screens made the time go by super fast. If they spent like 2 hours on a screen in the afternoon, they would be shocked that it was 4 o'clock and they felt like they were losing their day. So I was thinking not only how to reduce my screen time, but also theirs. And that's when we bought a Yodo player, because even when I was turning on audiobooks instead of screens for them, I was still having to get on my phone, probably getting distracted first, and having to scroll to find the audiobook content. But now with the Yodo player, it's the physical player with the cards and the pictures on them, which is so good for my ADHD brain and especially the kids. So now when I need to do dishes or laundry, we turn on the Yodo player and we'll listen to classics like Beatrix Potter. And currently my 6-year-old's favorite is The Wind in the Willows, and we recently did find they made a stop motion animation for that. It's on Prime. So if you do want to sneak in some screen time, check that out. I used to bring my phone to the couch with me while I was watching the kids play, and I was like, well, the kids are playing so I can scroll. And so I started to either just embrace observing and find joy in their play, in their laughter, and appreciate those small moments, or I will get on the floor and play with them now. I have found so much stress relief in the Play-Doh and the kinetic sand. As much as I do have books that I am reading for myself and want to read, if you have a book that you want to read, it's kind of like on your to-do list, right? And scrolling feels like something that you can do that's not on your to-do list. Reading children's books out loud feels so much more like relaxing and joyful. Although I am still trying to sneak in my own books here and there, I'm building up to that. I actually have been learning about the whole personal curriculum thing, and there's some skills I really want to get better at and some like biographies I want to read. But to first get over my phone addiction and like completely change my life, the play hobbies were such an amazing first start, because swapping my phone for these playful hobbies seriously changed my brain and changed my life. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of what really happened after I started playing instead of scrolling. Researchers have actually been studying play for decades, and hearing the research after experiencing it for myself makes so much sense. So I'll tell you what I started to notice and the science that I found backed it up. So I really got my joy back. The thing is that scrolling recalibrates your brain to require artificially high levels of dopamine in order for you to feel pleasure, for you to feel rewarded for doing that thing. And so when you're used to scrolling all the time, simply watching your kids play or taking a walk or reading a book, it's not stimulating enough. And this can actually cause people to start feeling depressed because the real world just feels numb and empty now. And while yes, it's in your head, there are real chemical reactions happening in your head. This is real rewiring. This is why getting off the phones and doing a dopamine detox is so important for you and your children, so that they can still feel happiness, literally. Having a habit and an addiction of scrolling is literally chemically stealing joy from your real life. The second thing that happened is I got my time back, and I don't think I was aware and as conscious of it as my kids actually were about the time dilation thing. Now that the screen is gone and my days are feeling so much longer and I'm doing so much more, it really took me from wondering, what am I doing all day? And are there enough hours in the day, to starting to feel normal again and like, oh yeah, it all does fit in the day. I can do all of this. I can be productive. Screens create that time dilation effect where you think you're only going to scroll 3 minutes and 20 minutes has gone by. Poof. And it doesn't feel like it, right? And then it's evening and that effect kind of happened to your entire day. You're like, where did the entire day go? The third thing that happened was I got my brain back. Better focus, more clarity, and more ability to hold a thought without losing it, memory gain. And here's the science, and don't skip this part. It's really important. I want you to hear this. Researchers found that play states activate the brain's divergent thinking networks, the same networks that are responsible for creative breakthroughs and flexible problem solving. This is called your neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new neural pathways. Our adult brains need this same kind of play regulation. Coloring, making things with your hands, pretend play, these create the conditions for new neural connections. There's a difference between a brain that's being stimulated and a brain that's being exercised and built up. I really got my energy back, and this is for a couple of reasons. The first is I realized I wasn't as tired as I really thought I was. I realized I'm tired became my excuse to scroll. But when I would take a moment to just play and rest and be, I realized that I would start processing things, processing what I need to do next, and I was able to move from that I need a moment to rest period into the next task I needed to do much more quickly. It was never truly fatigue, it was just that I needed a processing period. But when I was scrolling, and here's the next part, every single thing you see, you're making decisions about, and your brain can only make so many decisions in a day. So when you're saying, do I want to watch this? Do I want to like it? Do I want to comment on it? How do I feel about this? You're using up your cognitive reserves and actually just fatiguing yourself worse. So you might say, I need a break after dinner. I'm going to scroll for a little bit because I'm tired. I'm going to wait for my energy to come back. Then you're scrolling, exhausting yourself worse, and you just say, you know what? I never got my energy back. I'm done for the night. But it was actually the damn phone. Playing also lowers your cortisol, meaning it is a stress relief. And you might feel tired when you're stressed out. So by actually processing that and lowering your stress, you can get back up quicker. I also started coming back into the physical world a lot more, back into my body, and becoming more active. I have always been really into health and wellness, but it's been really hard to stick to an exercise routine. And so I started taking steps to just be actively playing more, running around the yard with the kids, getting out my bike and taking bike rides with them more, rolling around with them on the floor and lifting them up with my legs. Kids don't look for an excuse to move their bodies. They just do it, right? We have swings hanging in my house. I started just getting in the swing and swinging more. So by deciding to play more, I have actually created a more active lifestyle for my health. Stuart Brown, a researcher at the National Institute for Play, spent decades studying what happens when adults are deprived of play. He found higher rates of chronic illness, earlier cognitive decline, and measurable loss of physical vitality. His conclusion: play isn't a reward you earn after being productive enough. It's a biological need, just like sleep, and most of us are seriously deficient in play. I have always also aspired to be a very patient parent with my children, and when I was scrolling, little things were causing me to be so reactive and snap all the time, and that's because the algorithms are training your brain, literally rewiring your brain for reactivity. So when I stopped scrolling, I really got my patience back. I also stopped taking life so seriously, which we all need to do. I became more aware, like when I'm reaching for stimulation when I don't really need it. I'm now able to just simply get the dishes done instead of scrolling on YouTube with the excuse that I need to listen to something to get it done. Now, I have ADHD, and if you're early on in this journey and you feel like you need an audiobook or a podcast to get things done, I was there. And if that's the part of the journey you're on, it's totally fine. This was a journey over a year to get to stop scrolling, to changing it for audiobooks and podcasts. It's taken a lot of healing. I've been through a lot of trauma. I've spent years healing. So if you feel like you constantly need to be listening to something, just start becoming aware of it. It doesn't have to be an overnight change. These things do take time, and your brain might really need it to get off the screens and to start healing. This is a process, and I always want you to respect wherever you are in your journey. It can be really hard to just be in a quiet space with nothing but our own thoughts. And I just want you guys to know that I get it. And this is simply a journey of self-awareness. Part of that was I always felt like I had to listen to something educational. And so just shifting to listening to audiobooks with my kids was like a first step for me. And that's how I discovered all of this. Just becoming self-aware and deciding that I wanted to do more relaxing things and be a present and engaged mother. That's all this is. Becoming aware and deciding that you deserve to feel good. And that's my message for you today. You deserve to feel good, and I hope you find a joyful hobby. Before you go, I want to let you know that the other part of this journey was me also tackling ADHD and anxiety and dealing with a body and a brain that had been pregnant and breastfeeding and sleep deprived for a decade. This is only a very small part. And if you are also on the journey of getting your brain back, getting your life back, in the description below, you will find for free, I have created a brain recovery guide. This is going to have habits, supplements, and recipes that are going to help you show up the way you want to show up, be productive and focused and happy and present the way you truly want to be. I'll see you in the next video, all about how technology in general can really wreak havoc on women's bodies and brains in particular. See you there.